Now, as Nigeria heads towards the 2023 general election, concerns over the security and fairness of the electoral system have never been greater. How is your vote likely to count in this election, a ballot that is predicted to be hotly contested? Well, given that in the past voting seemed more like getting monkeys to chuck darts at a board and never really appeared to count, what's likely to be different this time? Does the new Beaver system now mean the elimination of rigging and electoral malpractice? Can it be trusted to be one person, one vote? Questions and more questions, which we hope will be answered well ahead of the 2023 ballot. Well, to add his bit to the process of allaying the concerns of Nigerians, I'm joined now in the studio by the man we call the INEC analyst and CEO of Dawib Investment and Dawib Farms Limited, Danjuma Ibrahim. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Charles.
I'm sure you know many people in this country have grave concerns about the security of the new voting system, and because of their experiences in the past, many have concerns about vote rigging. You've spent considerable time studying the new system. What have you found out?
Good evening, everybody. And I want to tell you the new electoral system signed into law is a product of God. Why I'm saying this is it beats the imaginations of the planners, those that are used to stealing the mandate of the people all along, and the actors in the political scene. Because it is only in Nigeria you find out that somebody wins election through that means, starts working on how to beat the process again in the next 4 years. So now something happened this time around by God's divine ways. The National Assembly have always been dealt with by the executive. That's when they go home looking for the party primaries to come back. Some of them get eliminated from there. And most of them have been insecure. So for that, most of them got into the House and the Senate with that intention of dealing with that problem. That is, getting how to check the executive, not to deal with them in the next round of primaries. So on doing that, they were working on this electoral law, and they looked at all the loopholes that the executive was using to deal with them and blocked them. In a way, I would say, forgot how to win on their own way too.
So they checkmated
They
themselves.
checkmated themselves
Right.
on both ways.
Yeah, but let me just be specific because we haven't got that much time. Does the new Beaver system now mean the elimination of rigging based on your assessment? Can it be trusted to deliver one person, one vote?
That's where I'm coming to.
Yeah. Well, you have to
Yes.
do it fairly
Yeah.
quickly because
You
we haven't
see,
got all day.
The Beavers now is a system. You come and get accredited. You thumbprint. If it doesn't pop up, you get snapped. And when your picture gets there, it pops up. You vote. And if it rejects you, it means you cannot vote because there is no that incident form that was used before. Formerly, the system was, if you are with the party in power or you have anything to do with INEC, you do arrangements with them, get a lot of ballot papers. All you need to know is how many people are in this constituency or on this senatorial zone or so. You go to get, if there are 50,000, you go and get 40,000 ballot papers and one person can thumbprint all of them, or 2 or 3 people. We've seen the people lock themselves and work tirelessly to thumbprint thousands of ballot papers, which will be stuck and kept somewhere, counting for you, the rigger, before the election day. On the election day, they don't care. They have left room for about 10,000 votes, which everybody will come now. They know the turnout is always very low. So they don't care whoever gets what at the polling unit. They have 40,000 already in their kitty. At the end of voting, where everybody feels he has done the right thing, you have gone to do your civic responsibility, you are expecting Mr. A, Mr. B, or Mr. C to emerge. You know the whole numbers around you and everywhere. When at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the evening, you hear the figure of your area, you think it is ghosts that came to cast votes.
Right. And you're saying that problem
now, this is the beavers. How it takes the thumbprint. It now accredits you, and this INEC will open these beavers their server at so time. And when the voting ends, they are closed. So you have to do whatever you want to do within that period. And one person cannot come and be thumbprinting the ballot papers because it has to match the accreditation. So you have so much time and you need so much time and so many people to be able to do this, which is virtually impossible.
Right, but there are problems, though, aren't there, with those beavers machines? I mean, one common problem is that it sometimes fails to use facial recognition to accredit voters, and that has led to people who have PVCs being disenfranchised.
Well, for what I'm seeing now, instead of going back to the dark days we have been, choosing people that some few people believe in that cannot deliver, we have all sort of people elected into offices. That is why we are in the mess we are after how many years of trials.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I mean, I'm looking...
So now, these few people we are talking of, because the percentage of this we are talking of is very, from Osun elections and other elections that happen, is very negligible.
Yeah, but
though nobody should be disenfranchised.
Yeah, if you extrapolate from Osun and Ekiti and Anambra and all the rest of it onto a national stage, it becomes much bigger, doesn't it? I mean, the numbers become much bigger. And this facial recognition problem particularly affects people whose PVCs were issued a few years ago, but whose
That's maybe 2010.
Yeah, maybe their images, their faces have changed since then. Yes. And the machine doesn't recognize them.
But their thumb,
what's the solution
their thumb works.
To that?
The thumbprint, their thumb. They will thumbprint on the machine.
Yeah,
it accepts that and accepts the facial recognition. There are two sides to it.
Right, but you acknowledge that there are potential problems.
There are potentials, and I'm sure INEC will work on this before the end of the time. Because everybody is tired of this thing.
Yeah, no, I understand what you... Well, not everybody, but most people like yourself are tired of
Mr. Charles,
yeah.
You see, we are talking of electoral voting system now. You see, as a farmer, I am a farmer. That's my practicing something. And coming into this agriculture, I have discovered so many things. When I hear the party people and the rest of them talking about the problems, it strikes me that they don't even know the problem. I want you to imagine how much this government have put into agriculture. But what is the resultant effect? When you see prices soaring up, it is an issue of demand and supply. When you produce so much, the price must have to go down. Is it not true? So the money is pumped into this thing. The commensurate output is much less than that.
Yeah.
And you know why? Being a field farmer, knowing what is all there, I know that we are just getting it wrong. The farmer the smallholder farmer, because commercial agriculture is near non-existent in Nigeria now. And I can't see any way 200 million people will be fed by subsistent farming. It's not possible. So you now find out that all the problems that create this issue, that you pump so much into it and you don't get results, they don't even know it. And how do you solve a problem when you don't know the symptoms? Let me give you a scenario of what happens. The government agencies, the ministries of agriculture in the states and the federal, some people have perfected ways of stealing. What do I mean by that? You come, this is the season for dry season farming. The government gives out 10,000 pumping machines for a state, which has maybe 15 to 20 local governments. They go into these states, into the local governments, a truck carrying the machines and the seed and what have you to give to the farmers is here for distribution. Another truck of a merchant who buys these things that will be given to the farmers is on the other side. They call the farmers, they pile up. Mr. A, come. Yeah, sir, he comes, okay. You have a pumping machine, he takes it. You have 2 bags of fertilizer, he takes it. He now goes around, another person is called, he goes around to the other truck of the merchant who is waiting. These pumping machines might be given to them at 55 to 60,000 naira. He goes there, gives out the machine, and takes 10 to 15,000 naira from the person there. The seed that have been treated, that will be used, these are seeds that will give you good yield. The farmer goes to cook it and eat instead of farming it in the farm, planting it in the farm. So what do you get at the end of the season? You get nothing.
Well, that's a fascinating discussion. It has to be a discussion for another day because I mean, we're here to talk about INEC, but that's a very interesting revelation that you've made, and I know that you are a farmer. We really need to solve that problem. So let me ask you this very quickly, because we've got about a minute or less. Looking at the presidential candidates who've come into the race, is there anyone in particular who's got you excited enough to give him your support that you think can handle things like this? Because essentially you're talking about corruption.
You see, the issue of a candidate or anybody
very briefly
is as difficult as anything, saying this is who. It is the system that is not working.
That's a good point.
And it is the system that is supposed to correct most of these things. You see. So
it's a root and branch reform that you're talking about.
Fine.
Yeah.
This president came in with much more than everybody was expecting. But what is happening at the end of the day?
Right. Okay. I want to thank you very much indeed, Danjuma Ibrahim, for coming in and sharing your thoughts with us. And he is an INEC analyst and CEO of Daweeb Investment and Daweeb Farms Limited. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.